Tom's repair team worked through the station's night cycle, their powered work suits glowing in the dim light of Dock 7. The alien ship's quantum drive housing lay exposed, its complex internal systems visible under the bright work lights, while Rod, the alien engineer, continued running scans with their advanced diagnostic equipment. Tom's team took a different approach. "Hand me the magnetic spanner," Tom called out to Mike, his assistant. The younger engineer pushed off a nearby wall, floating gracefully in the low gravity with the requested tool. The alien observers watched with obvious concern as Tom began working with what must have seemed like Stone Age equipment to them. "This is most irregular," Rod commented, his translation device struggling to convey his worry. "Our quantum drive components are incredibly delicate. They require—" "Trust me," Tom interrupted, carefully adjusting the spanner settings. "Sometimes you need to feel the problem to fix it." He pressed the tool against the drive housing, closing his eyes to better sense the vibrations feeding back through the handle. Blue, the ship's captain, paced nearby, his movements jerky with anxiety. "Our own repair facilities spent weeks attempting to correct these malfunctions. They used the most advanced diagnostic systems in the Meridian Alliance." "That might be the problem," Lisa, another human engineer, said as she studied readouts from their simple thermal scanner. "Your systems are so advanced, they've stopped looking for basic issues, like trying to find a damaged tree by studying its DNA instead of just looking at the trunk." Tom nodded in agreement. The spanner's feedback told him exactly what he suspected. "The quantum field isn't failing because of any damage to the exotic matter container," he explained. "The housing has developed microfractures from standard stress fatigue. Your ship's been running this drive hard, hasn't it?" Blue's facial tentacles twisted in what might have been embarrassment. "We may have pushed the engines beyond recommended parameters during our last trading run. Nothing to be ashamed of," Tom said, floating back to check another section. "Everything breaks eventually. That's why we fix things." Over the next few hours, Tom's team worked methodically. They used simple welding techniques modified for quantum-stabilized materials, reinforced stress points with basic mechanical supports, and realigned the housing using time-tested engineering principles. The aliens watched in amazement as these primitive humans confidently handled their advanced technology. "But how can you even understand our systems?" Rod asked, genuinely curious now. "Your species has only had faster-than-light travel for 50 years. Lisa laughed as she calibrated a support strut. "Physics is physics, no matter where you're from. Your quantum drive is incredibly advanced, but it still follows the same basic principles as our first fusion reactors. Energy containment, field stability, thermal management. It's all just engineering." The real breakthrough came when Tom discovered something the alien diagnostics had missed entirely. "Look at this," he called out, pointing to a seemingly perfect section of the housing. "Your quantum field is actually warping the structure at a molecular level. Your sensors don't detect it because they're calibrated to expect perfect alignment." "Impossible," Rod declared, but his voice held less certainty now. "The housing is designed to be perfect," Tom finished. "But nothing's perfect. That's why the best engineers plan for imperfection. We're going to add some flexible mounting points here and here. They'll absorb the stress instead of letting it build up in the housing." As the final repairs were completed, Tom's team began running their own tests, a mixture of advanced scans and simple mechanical checks. The quantum drive hummed to life, its energy field stable and clean for the first time in months. Blue stared at the readouts in disbelief. The efficiency, it's higher than when the ship was new. "Sometimes the best solutions are the simple ones," Tom said, packing away his tools. "Your drive was fighting itself, trying to maintain perfect alignment. Now it can flex a little, work with the stress instead of against it." The alien captain's expression shifted to what Tom was learning to recognize as respect. Perhaps we have something to learn from human engineering after all." Tom smiled. "We all have something to learn from each other. That's what makes the galaxy interesting." He looked at his team with pride. Once again, human ingenuity and practical knowledge had proved their worth among the stars. News travels fast in space, even faster when it involves something impossible. Just 3 days after the Meridian trading vessel departed Forge One, a new ship appeared at the edge of Jupiter's orbit. This one was different, sleek, pristine, and decorated with the distinctive markings of the stellar Concordat's diplomatic fleet. Tom Baker was enjoying his first cup of coffee in 12 hours when the call came through. "Chief, you're going to want to see this," the dock controller said. "We've got a Concordat ship requesting emergency repairs." Tom nearly spilled his coffee. The stellar Concordat was known for their advanced technology and, more importantly, their pride. They never sought help from lesser civilizations. "I'll be right there," he said, already moving. The Concordat vessel, named Star's Wisdom, was easily the most beautiful ship Tom had ever seen. Its hull seemed to shimmer with rainbow colors as it approached the station, but even this couldn't hide the fact that something was very wrong. The ship's approach was erratic, its navigation clearly malfunctioning. "This is Ambassador White of the Stellar Concordat," a melodious voice announced over the comm. "We require assistance. Our navigation systems are experiencing cascade failures." Tom met the ambassador in Dock 4. White was tall and elegant, with crystalline features that caught the light. 2 Concordat engineers flanked her, their expressions a mixture of embarrassment and concern. "We heard about what you did for the Meridian vessel," White said without preamble. "Our own repair facilities have been unable to resolve our problem. They insist the system is working perfectly, yet." She gestured at their ship. Tom nodded. "Mind if we take a look?" The Concordat's navigation system was a marvel of engineering. It didn't just plot courses, it predicted spatial distortions, calculated quantum probabilities, and adjusted for thousands of variables in real time. It was also, Tom quickly realized, incredibly over-engineered. "Your system is thinking too much," he explained to the bewildered Concordat engineers. "It's trying to calculate every possible variable to 17 decimal places. But space isn't that precise. Sometimes you need to work with nature, not against it." The Concordat's chief engineer, Gray, looked offended. "Our calculations are perfect. The quantum processors are fighting against basic physics," Lisa interrupted, pointing to her simple motion tracker. "Look, your ship naturally wants to rotate slightly along this axis due to Jupiter's gravity. Your system is fighting that with thousands of micro-corrections per second instead of just compensating for the major movements." Tom's team got to work. They didn't try to match the Concordat's level of precision. Instead, they installed simple gyroscopic stabilizers, primitive technology by Concordat standards, and modified the navigation software to work with natural spatial fluctuations rather than trying to eliminate them completely. "But this reduces our navigational accuracy by 0.1%, Gray protested. "Yes," Tom agreed, "but it also reduces your power consumption by 30% and eliminates the cascade failures. Sometimes good enough is better than perfect." The real surprise came when they tested the modified system. The ship's movement wasn't just stable, it was smoother than before. The simple mechanical stabilizers actually helped the advanced quantum systems work more efficiently. "I don't understand," White admitted, watching the test results. "Your technology is so basic, yet you've solved a problem our best engineers couldn't fix." Tom smiled. "It's not about having the most advanced technology. It's about understanding the principles behind it. Humans might be new to space travel, but we've been solving mechanical problems for thousands of years." As the Concordat ship prepared to leave, Ambassador White made an unexpected announcement. "We will be recommending Forge One to other Concordat vessels. Your approach is unorthodox, but effective. Just remember," Tom called after them, "sometimes the best solution is the simple one." Back in his office, Tom looked at the growing list of repair requests on his screen. Word was definitely spreading. Ships from across the galaxy were beginning to seek out the human repair station, drawn by stories of impossible fixes and practical solutions. "Looks like we're going to be busy," he muttered, smiling as he saw 3 more requests pop up. The galaxy was starting to learn that humanity's primitive engineering might be exactly what they needed. The emergency alert woke Tom from a dead sleep. Red lights flashed throughout Forge 1, and the station's AI spoke with unusual urgency. Multiple vessels approaching. Emergency life support conditions detected. All repair crews to stations. Tom was running before he'd fully dressed, pulling on his work suit as he moved. The scene that greeted him in the control room stopped him cold. The main screen showed 15 ships of various sizes limping toward the station. Their hulls were covered in a strange crystalline frost. "What happened?" he demanded. "Refugee fleet from the Orion Arm," Lisa answered, already reviewing sensor data. "They flew through some kind of spatial anomaly. Their life support systems are failing. Every other repair station turned them away." "How many people on board?" "Over 10,000, she replied quietly. "And their air recyclers are shutting down. They've got maybe 6 hours left." Tom took a deep breath. "Call everyone in. I don't care if they're off duty. We're going to need all hands for this." The first ship docked 20 minutes later. Its passengers were a mix of different alien species, all showing signs of oxygen deprivation. Their captain, a tall figure named Green, explained the situation through chattering teeth. "The anomaly. It changed something in our systems," Green said, shivering. "The molecular filters. They're crystallizing. Nothing works." The other stations said it was hopeless. Tom studied the frost-covered life support units. The alien technology was incredibly advanced. Molecular reconstruction filters that could turn any material into breathable air. But now those same molecules were locked in a strange crystalline pattern. "The anomaly changed the quantum state of the filters," one of the alien engineers explained. "Our technology can't reset them. We need completely new systems, but there's no time." Tom looked at the dying equipment, then at the scared faces around him. "Maybe we don't need new systems," he said slowly. "Maybe we just need to think simpler." He gathered his team quickly. "Forget trying to fix their quantum technology. We're going to build them basic air scrubbers, old-school Earth space station tech. Lisa, get the fabricators running. Mike, start stripping down our emergency units for parts. And someone get me every spare carbon filter we've got." The next 5 hours were a blur of activity. The human repair teams worked frantically, building simple but effective air recycling systems using technology that was centuries behind the alien equipment. They used activated carbon filters, basic chemical scrubbers, and mechanical air circulators, technology that hadn't changed much since humanity's first space stations. "But these are so basic," one alien engineer protested, watching the humans install a large mechanical air processor. "Basic works," Tom replied, tightening the last bolt. "Basic keeps you alive." Ship by ship, the old-fashioned human systems came online. They weren't as efficient as the original alien technology, but they worked. More importantly, they weren't affected by whatever quantum-level changes the anomaly had caused. "The air, it's getting clearer," Green said in amazement, watching his ship's atmospheric readings stabilize. "How did you do this so quickly?" Tom wiped sweat from his forehead. "Sometimes the best backup system is one that can't fail because it's too simple to break. Your advanced filters are great, but when they fail completely. These systems," he patted the humming air processor, "they can be fixed with a wrench and some spare parts." As the crisis passed and the refugee fleet's passengers began to recover, Tom watched the grateful aliens studying the human-made systems with new interest. They were asking questions, taking notes, learning about the simple but reliable technology that had saved their lives. "We'll need to replace these eventually," one of the alien engineers admitted. "But I think we'll keep some of them as backups, just in case." Tom nodded, exhausted but satisfied. "That's the thing about engineering," he said. "It's not about having the most advanced solution. It's about having the right solution. Looking around at the bustling repair bay, now full of ships safely running on primitive human technology, Tom couldn't help but smile. Once again, humanity's practical approach had proven its worth. Sometimes, he thought, the simplest solutions were the ones that saved the day. When the gleaming silver ship of the Galactic Engineering Council appeared at Forge 1, Tom Baker wasn't surprised. After the refugee fleet incident, he'd been expecting them. What did surprise him was their request. "You want us to what?" he asked, staring at the council's chief engineer, Gold, whose metallic skin reflected the station's lights. "We want to study your methods," Gold repeated. "The council has reviewed the data from your recent repairs. You've achieved results that should be impossible with your technology level." The council had sent their best engineers, 5 aliens from different species, each supposedly a genius in their field. They stood in Tom's simple office, surrounded by old technical manuals and spare parts, looking both curious and slightly uncomfortable. "We've brought advanced monitoring equipment," Gold continued. "We'd like to observe your team during actual repairs." Tom shrugged. "Sure. But I should warn you, there's not much to see. We just fix things." Their chance came sooner than expected. A merchant vessel arrived with engine trouble, and Tom's team got to work while the council engineers watched and recorded everything. "Why do you keep touching the components?" one council member asked, watching Lisa run her hands along a damaged power conduit. "Because sometimes you can feel what's wrong," Lisa replied. "Vibrations, heat patterns, subtle movements. Your instruments might miss things that human senses can detect." The council members exchanged looks. Their species had long ago moved past physical contact with machinery, relying entirely on sensors and diagnostic tools. As the repair work continued, Gold made an interesting observation. "Your team, they don't specialize. Each engineer works on multiple systems." "Of course," Tom said, helping Mike calibrate a plasma injector. "We have to understand how everything works together. A problem in one system can cause failures in another. You can't just focus on your own specialty." The council engineers took endless notes as they watched humans combine advanced alien technology with simple mechanical solutions. They seemed particularly fascinated by how the repair team would sometimes choose basic tools over sophisticated equipment. "But why use a manual pressure gauge?" Gold asked, pointing to the simple device Tom was using. "Our quantum sensors are far more accurate." "Sometimes simpler is better," Tom explained. "This gauge can't be fooled by interference. It might not be as precise, but it's reliable. In engineering, reliable beats perfect every time." The real breakthrough came when the council reviewed their data. Gold called an emergency meeting in the station's conference room. "We've discovered something extraordinary," the alien engineer announced. "Human repair methods aren't just fixing problems. They're improving overall system performance. Look at these efficiency readings." The screen showed data from dozens of ships that had visited Forge 1. Every single vessel showed improved performance after human repairs. "It's because we don't just replace broken parts," Tom explained. "We look at how systems work together. Sometimes adding simple mechanical backups or stress relief points can help advanced technology work better." "This goes against everything we thought we knew," Gold admitted. "We've spent centuries making our technology more complex, more precise. But you humans, we keep the old knowledge while learning the new," Lisa finished. "Just because something's old doesn't mean it's obsolete." The council's report sent shockwaves through the galactic engineering community. They officially recognized human repair techniques as a new and valuable engineering discipline. More importantly, they recommended that all advanced repair facilities begin incorporating human methods. "We're establishing a new training program," Gold told Tom before leaving. "We'd like human engineers to teach their approach to other species. Would you be interested in helping?" Tom looked around at his team, saw their proud smiles, and nodded. "We'd be honored. But you should know, we're still learning too. That's the real secret of human engineering. We never stop learning." never stop trying new things, or old things in new ways. As the council ship departed, Tom stood at the station's observation window, watching it disappear into the darkness of space. Humanity had finally found its place among the stars, not just as users of advanced technology, but as masters of understanding it. "Not bad for a bunch of primitive engineers," Lisa said, joining him at the window. Tom smiled. Sometimes being primitive is exactly what the galaxy needs. 6 months after the Galactic Engineering Council's visit, Forge One had changed dramatically. The repair station had doubled in size, with new docks stretching out into space like giant metal fingers. But the biggest change wasn't in the station itself. It was in the ships that left it. Tom stood in the newly built observation deck, watching as a massive alien cruiser powered up its engines. He checked the readings on his tablet and smiled. "Another successful upgrade," Lisa said, joining him at the window. "Their power output is 30% higher than factory specifications. And they said our modifications would never work," Tom replied, remembering the heated arguments with the ship's engineers. Funny how adding simple mechanical backup systems makes their fancy quantum drives run better. The station's comm system crackled to life. "Forge One, this is the stellar Concordat vessel Light of Progress. Requesting immediate docking. We have an unusual proposal." Tom and Lisa exchanged looks. The Concordat ships were now regular visitors, but they never came without a scheduled appointment. This was new. The Concordat representative, Black, didn't waste time with pleasantries. "We want you to redesign our next generation of ships," he announced as soon as he stepped onto the station. Tom blinked in surprise. "Redesign? Your ships are already the most advanced in the galaxy." "Yes," Black agreed, "and they keep breaking down in ways our engineers can't fix. But ships that have been repaired here, they're performing better than ever. We want to understand why." Tom gathered his best engineers in the station's main workshop. Spread across the tables were designs for the most advanced ships in the galaxy. But now, these designs were being modified with what some would call primitive additions. "Look here," Tom explained, pointing to the quantum drive housing. "We add flexible mounting points, old-school shock absorbers, basically. The drive works better when it can move a little. And here," Lisa added, highlighting the life support systems, "we install manual backups, simple chemical filters and mechanical pumps. They're not as efficient, but they never fail completely." The Concordat engineers watched in fascination as the humans worked. They weren't just fixing problems, they were fundamentally changing how the ships worked. "It's like building a safety net," Mike explained to the aliens. "Your advanced technology is amazing, but it's also fragile. We add simple systems that can take over if the main ones fail." Word spread quickly through the galaxy. Ships that left Forge One weren't just repaired, they were improved. Vessels with human modifications were setting new records for speed, efficiency, and reliability. "It's not about replacing advanced technology," Tom explained to a group of visiting engineers from various species. "It's about supporting it, like putting sturdy legs under a delicate table." The breakthrough came when they modified a Meridian battle cruiser. The ship's advanced weapon systems were incredibly powerful, but prone to overheating. Tom's team added simple mechanical heat sinks and coolant systems based on ancient Earth submarine designs. "It's impossible," the Meridian weapons officer protested. "These primitive cooling systems can't handle our energy output." But they could. The modified weapons could fire longer and recover faster than ever before. The simple additions made the advanced technology work better than its designers had thought possible. More ships arrived every day, not for repairs but for upgrades. The humans' reputation changed from good fixers to essential innovators. "We've created something new," Tom told his team during a rare quiet moment. "It's not just human engineering or alien technology anymore. It's both working together." Lisa nodded, watching another upgraded ship leave the station. "We're not just fixing the galaxy's ships anymore," she said. "We're changing how they're built." As the day ended, Tom looked out at the busy repair bays. Ships of all sizes and designs waited for their turn to receive the human touch, the perfect blend of advanced technology and practical engineering that was revolutionizing space travel. Not bad, he murmured to himself, for a bunch of primitive engineers from Earth. 1 year after the first desperate Meridian trading vessel limped into Forge 1, the station had become the busiest repair facility in known space. But today was special. Tom Baker stood in the station's largest teaching hall, looking at the strange mix of faces before him. Human and alien engineers gathered together for the first ever Galactic Engineering Academy class. "Welcome to Advanced Practical Engineering 101, Tom said, smiling at the eager faces, or as we like to call it, why simple solutions matter. The room was packed. Representatives from 20 different species sat side by side, some floating, some standing, some balanced on anti-gravity cushions. All of them were here to learn the human approach to engineering. "First lesson," Tom announced, placing an old wrench on his desk next to a quantum scanner. "Sometimes you need both of these, and sometimes you just need the wrench." A ripple of laughter went through the room. A year ago, that statement would have been met with disbelief or scorn. Now, it was accepted wisdom. In the repair bay below, Lisa was supervising a joint repair team, humans and aliens working together on a massive cargo ship. The alien engineers no longer hesitated to get their hands dirty, literally learning to feel the machines they worked on. "The vibration pattern is wrong," a young Meridian engineer said, his hand pressed against a power conduit. "Just like Engineer Baker taught us, sometimes you have to listen to the machine." Tom watched through the observation window, pride swelling in his chest. The galaxy's best engineers were not just accepting human methods, they were embracing them. "Chief Baker," the station's AI announced, "the new hybrid ships are ready for inspection." The viewing deck offered a perfect view of the latest achievement in galactic engineering. 3 ships floated in the construction dock, their designs a perfect blend of advanced alien technology and practical human engineering. They were the first vessels ever built collaboratively by multiple species, incorporating the best of both worlds. "Beautiful, aren't they?" Gold said, joining Tom at the window. The council's chief engineer had become a regular visitor to Forge 1, the perfect balance of innovation and reliability. Tom nodded. The ships represented everything they'd been working toward. Their quantum drives had mechanical backup systems. Their advanced life support was supplemented by simple chemical scrubbers. Every piece of cutting-edge technology was supported by practical, reliable backups. "They're calling it the Human School of Engineering now," Gold continued. "Every major shipyard in the galaxy is adapting their designs to include your principles." In the distance, a ship appeared from hyperspace, one of the first vessels Tom's team had repaired. It still bore the marks of human modification, now seen as badges of honor rather than signs of primitive tampering. "Did you ever think it would turn out like this?" Lisa asked, joining them after her teaching session. When that first damaged ship arrived, Tom shook his head. "I just wanted to fix things. But look at what we've built instead." The station hummed with activity. In workshops throughout Forge 1, humans taught aliens about mechanical systems while aliens shared their knowledge of advanced technology. The two approaches merged and evolved, creating something entirely new. "The next generation will be even better," Tom said, watching his students work. "They won't see any difference between advanced technology and practical solutions. They'll just see problems that need fixing." As the day shift ended, Tom took a final walk through the repair bays. Everywhere he looked, he saw the future of galactic engineering, humans and aliens working side by side, combining the best of both worlds. A small plaque caught his eye, recently installed near the main entrance. It read, "Forge 1 Station, where practical meets possible." "Not a bad legacy," he murmured, touching the plaque gently. "Not bad at all." Above him, the stars twinkled through the station's viewports, and ships of all kinds waited their turn for the human touch. the perfect blend of advanced technology and practical wisdom that had changed the galaxy's understanding of what it meant to be an engineer. Human ingenuity had found its place among the stars, not by reaching for perfection, but by remembering that sometimes the simplest solution was the best one.